Hello and welcome to another episode of Contemporary Living, where we provide lifestyle solutions for everyday living. We are a platform for champions. Do you consider yourself a champion? Of course you do. And I know why. You know why? Because you're with us today. And in the words of DJ Khaled, you either win with us or you watch us win. So guess what? Tonight we are winning and watching, but in all seriousness, you guys, it really means a lot to us that you decided to spend your precious time with us, especially when it's Super Bowl Sunday, baby. Yes, the Chiefs versus, who are they playing? The Eagles. All right, it's the Chiefs versus the Eagles. So who you with? Have you been watching it? Are you watching it? I know everybody's riled up and excited about that game, but right now we are in Alabama on our way back to Florida. But you know what, man, the show must go on, right? So here we are. Here we are. And our guest is here, and it's going to be so good. The show is going to be so good on this Valentine's Day weekend. So now so let's talk about Valentine's Day. So is it this weekend or is it next weekend? This Valentine's Day is celebrated. Since Valentine's Day falls on the week, it doesn't even matter. Either way, happy Valentine's Day to you. How will you be celebrating this, global day of romantic love? Certainly, love is in the air. And I wanted to convey that. You see my little heart-shaped earrings, my little cheapies, heart-shaped earrings, and I've got my infinity little chain on. Hey, I want you to feel the love. Can you feel it? Well, guess what? Everyone doesn't always feel it. And you know what? Even if you're not feeling it, I'm so glad that you're here, because guess what? Our guest tonight is here to talk about the relationship grief that you may be having or may know that someone is having. And basically, getting down to getting the love you need. Yes, the love you need. That sounds good, doesn't it? The love you need. So I'm here for it, and I know you are here too. But first things first, we got to go over those housekeeping notes. So you can always catch an episode of Contemporary Living on the replay at E360 TV, Facebook, YouTube, and if you comment hashtag on the replay, hashtag on the replay, you can get a chance to win a bag of our Farm Hill medium roast coffee, or you can hit us up directly at info@contemporaryliving.live.com. That's info@contemporaryliving.live.com. We want to make our platform your platform, so make sure you contact us. And at Contemporary Living, we believe also that sharing is caring. So what I'd like for you to do right now is like and share this program. It doesn't take a lot from you, but it means so much to us. So if you can just show your support by liking and sharing this program, we would be so happy that you did. So thank you. I'm just going to thank you in advance right now for your support. And now, let's talk about the Contemporaries Living's mover and shaker of the week. Yes, Miss Latina Pettis. Now, Latina appeared on Contemporary Living 2 weeks ago, so that was January 29th. She is a candidate for the 8th District Council in Chicago, where she wants to bridge the gap between the police and the communities that they serve. And so in that position, she's able to advocate for that. Now, if you didn't get a chance to catch her live, watch her on the replay. I mean, even though we were having a lot of technical difficulties last week, man, you could feel her passion in her voice. We were able to pick up shots of her, but everything she said in her voice was so passionate. And she talks about when she talked about creating better communities and how the police are one of the keys, the Chicago PD, how they are, one of the keys to accomplishing that goal. So, she did a phenomenal job on her interview, and we wish her nothing but the best on her run for council. And the vote is coming up this month in February. contemporary. So that is Miss Latina Pettis, our mover and shaker of the week. Now, tonight, we welcome self care boss, or you might know her as Dr. E. I like calling her Dr. E. Self care boss, Elmira Loftin. Now, this is her second time on Contemporary Living. And, the discussion during her the first interview that we had with her, she discussed her experience and her journey as a death doula, and she also gave us solutions to managing our own self-care, especially when someone you love dies. She gave us tips on how to process that grief, ways that would help us kind of ease the pain of the grief. Now, Elmira is a licensed massage therapist specializing in myofascial release and trigger point therapy, and she is also a certified death doula. But now, today, she's grown and expanded her practice, and now she's included in her practice focusing on breakup grief and teaching you how to get over your ex. Ain't that something? Some of us are still, we're still hanging on to that. But our theme tonight is the love you need. So I can't wait to talk about it with her, and I know you guys are excited too. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome self-care boss Elmira Loftin. Hey, beautiful. How are you?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Doing fantastic.
Good. People are waiting for this conversation. I got to call you Dr. E. That's what I choose to call you. Everyone knows you're the self-care boss, but Dr. E. People are waiting for this conversation. So all I want to do is we're gonna talk a little bit about how I want the first question to kind of just talk about how you came to be the self-care boss. So we want to kind of dive into that. So how did you become the self-care boss?
Well, a lot of that is actually wrapped up in what I help clients with through breakup grief, even through the deaths that they experience. Because it was my breakup years ago that was my breakthrough, which led me to wanting to do self-care and self-love and really committing to the journey and really being intentional. And it's how I moniker self-care boss, because we have to be in charge. We have to be in control of ourselves, our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, all of that. Nobody is going to take charge and be the boss of you if you're not taking charge yourself. A lot of times we look outside of ourselves for someone else to love, because I know the topic is the love you need. We're looking for love outside of ourselves, but no, it's inside of ourselves. And that's why it's self-care boss.
Ooh, all right. So my first question is, now I know that you've released a new web series, and it's called Grief is Brief. And I think that's so pivotal, because a lot of times we can take our grief, well, we're talking about love, breakup from exes. So we're really in a romantic love type vein tonight. But I like Grief is Brief because people can spend entire lifetime with heartache over a relationship. And so what was the motivation? So Grief is Brief. I love the web series. So Grief is Brief. What was the motivation or the inspiration behind that?
The real motivation and inspiration was to show people how they can easily release their grief. Because in the 3-part series, you see the main character, Tiffany, break up with her boyfriend see her best friend helping her, and then her best friend actually recommends me, the heartbreak healer, Dr. E, to come over and assist her. And
Right.
exactly, that's all in the 3-part web series. And it's there to show people and inspire them to act on their own, figure out how can they, going back to the self-care boss, how can you be in charge of healing your heart and to do it more quickly? And it's not because you're trying to be in a rush or you don't want to exercise patience. It's that it's just like what you said. Why do you need to live a lifetime suffering heartache? It's not necessary. Just like we might get a scar because we burned our hand, I don't keep that scar from age 7 all the way to age 77. It eventually heals. Our heart should
That's
do
true.
the same thing too. We, yeah, we should allow our
Mhm.
heart to heal. So is brief. The web series is all about that. And secondly, the inspiration was I like to give people a visual of what I do, because when I describe it, they're like, well, what does that look like? You're a massage therapist, but you do the grief. I don't know what that looks like. In the web series, people actually get to see me helping the main character and just being in my element.
Oh wow. Yeah. But well, you know, when you think about relationships and things like that, why do you think that it's just so challenging to get over an ex? It's so funny. We were in conversation last night. We were talking about that very subject. But why do you think that it's so challenging to get over someone and move past that point?
Because of the grief. The grief of a breakup is similar to the grief of death. It's unexpected. A lot of times the breakup comes and you were the one who was broken up with. And the grief can occur even if you were the one who initiated the breakup. It's the shock of the loss. You've been with that partner for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 15 years, and now you have to live a life without them. You have to figure out, what is my life going to look like without this person? That's why it's so challenging. Think about it. You watched television with them, you laid in the bed with them, you took them over your family functions. Like, let's say you were married, you celebrated all these anniversaries together. The
Mhm.
memories is what keeps us stuck. And those memories are actually in the body. And that's what I teach in like the Get Over Your Ex program, is to release the stuff from the body. Because we can say, oh, I threw away all the letters and I did all this and I forgave him and I forgave her. But did you really release the pain from the body? The memories, did you really reflect on those memories and say, I don't want to be attached to this. I want to let go and I want to move on to my new life. That's why it's so hard, because we want to hold on to the past.
So do you think it's really healthy? Because like sometimes people, in order to get over the grief, they just run to another relationship. And so they have these string of relationships. Do you think you need to necessarily take time out to grieve, or does it make you feel better if you just go to someone else? Or what do you think about that process?
Oh my goodness. From my experience and what I know about the heart and emotion, you already know what I'm going to say. It's not a good idea to jump into a new relationship, because here's the thing: you're not ready. You are in that new relationship with clouded vision. Like, for real
Mm,
though, like you don't even know who are you dating, because you're scarred.
mhm,
You have a
mhm.
scarred, broken heart, and you're dating somebody new. Like, what is that relation? Is that relationship going to be healthy? What is the purpose of that relationship? Because if you haven't taken time to learn, take responsibility, heal your heart, do the self-love work, how are you even select a valuable partner? That's my question. You can't be.
Oh, I
There's no
love that.
way because you're hurting.
I love that valuable partner
And
part.
that person, yeah.
Hmm. Did I cut you
Because
off?
I'll go even further with this. I'll go even further with this because sometimes a new partner will prey on the person who is heartbroken because they know you're vulnerable. You just got through a breakup. You just went through a divorce. You have all the, even some people prey on people who lost their parents to death because they know your heart is weak. Don't get in that situation where somebody is preying on you because you are grieving.
Mm-hmm. So like let's talk about like what have you noticed, about breakups and love, especially like around Valentine's Day, like this is really the time. Hey Kim, hey beautiful. I'm just talking to the audience right now. That was my BFF Kimberly. But like this is like I said when we first came on, this is the global day for romantic love, and the loneliness and the depression and all of that seems to reappear. So what do you notice?
It's the same thing. However, what I've also noticed is opportunities for growth because with this being Valentine's Day, it's all about love. We can start to implement self love, whether you are in a relationship or not. Let me say that again. You can implement self love, whether you are in a relationship or not, around Valentine's Day. Because I know in my story in the past, I used to be so heartbroken and lonely watching all these other couples. Oh, they get to go on a date. They got gifts. This, she got this. I didn't get that. So there was a sense of jealousy and envy and all of these things going on. But what we have to is, why are you jealous? Why? And I had to do that. I had to do the work. It's called shadow work. I had to do that within myself. And it was the self love journey which helped me. And it's what I see. It's what I see with a lot of clients. We don't want to do that inside work because it hurts. It forces us to face ourself because all parts of ourselves are not pretty. Like we have to
Yes.
face the abandonment, the neglect, all those things.
And you know what, I think that work is so necessary. I'm in a it's for military veterans. It's with Georgetown University, and it's a fellow, and it's on entrepreneurship. And one of the things that they make us face are my inadequacies, and that is hard, to be around a group of people and to recognize and notice your inadequacies, because you always want to be the person, well, I always want to be the person that has it together, that's doing everything. But then when you see your shortcomings, it's like, wow. And so that is like an entrepreneurship journey. So it's all grief. Look, Dr. E, it's all so through the entrepreneur journey, there is, a portion that where you have to grieve too, because you're not the person you thought you were, or you're trying to become, but you're not the person you thought you were. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, this really, that doing that work is really necessary. So thank you for that. So one of the things, how can, or well, let's talk about breakups. Why don't breakups get as much focus as death? Or, have you noticed how breakups can affect a person more than even death?
Oh, yeah. I've seen where breakups affect, I've seen it with my clients. Like, for example, client, his name is Chris. He has been seeing me right after his divorce for over 7 years. And it's just within like the fourth year that he really started to let go of anger and the disgust for his ex-wife. And what ends up happening, breakup grief doesn't get as much focus because we don't treat relationships as something important. If you really think about it, in our society, even though we promote marriage, the church promotes marriage, we don't have spaces that really help you to have healthy marriages, to have healthy relationships. Just don't. Nobody, and I'm not saying nobody, but the society is not built around. If you even look at our television shows, how many of the television shows are actually promoting this person is together in a healthy, loving relationship, not nobody cheating, nobody is doing all this backbiting, somebody trying to put the sugar in the other one's tank and doing all this vindictive stuff. Love is discounted in our society. And so it would prove breakup grief is not focused on because we don't appreciate love.
Wow.
We truly don't. I mean, the majority of the population does, and we've been taught to do that. And that's why we need spaces like I provide to help people heal their heart naturally and to help people see breakup grief is something that should get attention because people are suffering. Their work is suffering. Their relationships are suffering. Their spiritual health is suffering. All things are suffering after a breakup.
So let's talk about relationships for a minute. Do you think, like, so for instance, do you think that there is an imbalance of, like, for instance, every man that I know that wants to be in a relationship is in a relationship. However, every woman I know who may desire or want to be in a relationship is not. Do do you think that there's some type of imbalance, or what do you think is going on there?
There's a lot of things going on here. And if we specifically, because I have to ask you a follow up, are we specifically talking about the Black community or are we talking in general?
In general, yeah, in general.
In general.
Mm-hmm.
I will
I mean,
say that.
We can target it to a group. We can just say
Right.
Black people. That's fine. I don't have an issue with putting that question out there like that.
So if we're talking about in general, what I have seen, I mean, it's numerous things, but one of the things that I have seen with women, and this is some women, we are too picky. Some women are too picky when it comes to choosing a mate because we say, oh, he's got to, I mean, I don't know if you've heard the 6 figures, 6 inches, 6 foot, he got to be all these things on the list. And you could have had the man who was kind to you. You met at the airport, but you discounted him because he didn't look a certain way or he wasn't wearing these stylish clothes. He just had on his work clothes, for example, because he's a working man. That's one thing that I've seen. Sometimes we as women can overlook a good man just because on the surface he may not look. And right now I can say that for myself. I'm sitting here in Atlanta at my boyfriend's house. If I would have just looked at him on the surface, somebody else, because other women have done this, they have said, oh, he's a they would consider him a nerd because he works in IT and he may not speak up a lot. But when it came to our conversation together, we vibe, we connect. But if I would have taken everybody else's advice of what he looks like, or he don't wear that, or he don't do this, how you know what he do? Because you haven't even had a
Right.
conversation with him.
Right. 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 And by that same
So
token, do
it's
you think?
not always in.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, I was
Oh,
just
I
gonna.
was just adding, we can discount some of the people, because this applies to both men and women. We can
Okay. All
discount
right.
some of the people because they don't look like what we thought they would.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to. Kim says, look in the inside, not always the outside. Yeah, that is true. But guess what? We have come to the top of the first half hour of this hour-long program. So when I come back, I want to touch on, divorce and breakup, and I want to talk about your program and a little more about what you do and things like that. So don't go anywhere, you guys. We have self-care boss Elmira Loftin in the house. So we're going to run a few commercials and come right back. Thank you for watching. All right, and we thank our sponsors, but we are going to bring Dr. E right on back up in here so we can get with the questions. All right. Thank you. Thank you for staying through that commercial break. Now, one of the things that like in a marriage and things like that, like say for instance if someone was cheated on, is that a different type of grief? Like is that harder to handle, like if because you would potentially, I would suppose, feel like a victim? Is that grief, do you notice, like that type of grief is harder than to get over than it just didn't work out type grief?
Oh, totally. Because that was the grief I experienced from my relationship was
Ah,
cheating.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
what ends up happening, especially with infidelity and cheating, is we blame ourselves. When the reality is it was never us. It was our partner's decision to cheat, to break the marriage, the commitment, the trust, all of those things. It was something I had to learn, however. But initially, I blamed myself because someone, when your partner cheats, you assume you weren't good enough. But the reality is they don't cheat regardless. It was in
Right,
them.
right,
And it becomes challenging to get over because we do blame ourselves. We've wrapped our self esteem, our self worth, our self value in the relationship. So, one thing I caution from the beginning is do not put your self worth in that other person. You are worthy whether you are in that marriage or relationship or not. And that person should be adding value and worth to you. And whether you're not in connection with them, y'all happen to be away from each other for work reasons or whatever, you should still hold your own. That's why love and self-care boss, because the infidelity does affect us. But if we go in knowing I'm worthy regardless, you won't get so attached to whether he or she cheats, and then you fly off the handle and you want to die, you want to feel depressed all this time just because your partner cheated. We have to establish our own wealth and our own, and then the infidelity will not affect us as much.
hmm. And so just to kind of a second part to that is like how do you, let me see, I'm just trying to see how I want to word this. um how would you, like for instance, for those people who they break up and then she or he goes back to something they know is toxic and then they keep going back to some, is that because they haven't dealt with it, or if you keep going back to the same stuff, same relationship that you know is not good for you?
Oh, yeah, that's because you have not dealt with it. Because a lot of us are comfortable in pain. That was me too. I didn't know anything else. Because think about it, like I'm just going to use myself as an example, and I have many other clients like this too. I grew up in a home where there was emotional abuse. My parents split when I was 5. So for me, I didn't really see a healthy relationship in my home. So when it came to me modeling something, what was I supposed to model? There was nothing for me to model.
Right, right.
So that's what we're trying to duplicate it. If we really delve into what examples of healthy marriage or healthy relationship have we seen, no
Mhm.
wonder we want to keep going back, because it's
Mhm.
that comfort of love. That's the only type of love we know. It's familiar.
Right, right.
Like it is so familiar. Even though that person could be beating you upside the head, you've you're comfortable with being beat upside the head because you know what to expect. You don't want to go to the healthy relationship and that person may be treating you kind and taking you out on trips and dates. You're like, wait a minute, is that person up to something? Because I'm used to being abused, like physically abused. So what we have to do is I'll say it again. We have to do that self-care work, whether it involves seeing a counselor, seeing somebody like me, getting a personal trainer. All of this stuff is important for a holistic approach to heal your heart and to heal the trauma of your past. Otherwise, you just gonna keep getting in the relationship. I've seen people get married to the same person 3 times over, and not literally, it's not the same person, but it's a person with a different name.
Right. Yeah. That is something. So let's talk about you kind of personally. So you support and you educate people. Now, how do you do? So you hear a lot of stories and you know a lot of things. You with through people's experiences. So now, how do you protect your energy and how do you stay balanced and how do you listen to all of that and take people through this process without losing yourself? Because I know you're committed to your work. So
Oh
how
my
do you?
Okay, to answer the question, it's because I have a clearly, that's why it's self-care boss. That's how I
Mhm.
know this works so well, because years ago, I clearly defined my self-care and self-love plan.
Mhm.
Without it, I would fall in the rabbit hole with my clients. I know how to take a back seat and see people's situations for what they are in reality, not the stories, not the emotions where the people, because I have clients who are like, oh my God, she broke up with me. If I just sat there and cried with every client, I would be just depressed. But I've learned boundaries. I
Mhm.
apply boundaries. I know how to ground myself. I know how to separate fact fiction, because a lot of the stories that we tell ourselves are just thoughts in our head. Like,
Mm.
so I know how to do that, and it's how I don't attach myself to my clients. Because what that is doing, if I did attach myself to my clients, that would be wrong. That would be the wrong thing for me to do. And I would just be every time I meet with a client, I would be suffering.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. So it's boundaries, boundaries. So
Yes.
so now you hear a lot of people on social media that say, I started working on me and then my partner appeared. Do you think that's true and why do you think it is?
Oh, it is true, because when we start working on ourselves, we actually become a new person. Something
Mm.
ignites inside of us, and then God allows new people to be presented to you. Because consider this. I'm going to just I like using myself as an example because people can see Elmira is real, Doctor is real, sitting over here barking orders at you. When and working with a personal trainer, I started to see things differently because I was committed more to my health, to losing weight, to going to the gym at 6 a.m., which meant I had to wake up at 4:30. That commitment started to make me see potential partners in a different way than I did when I was not working out. So yes, you will be able to attract a new type of mate when you start working on yourself because your vision is different. You even look different. Because another example of that could be a woman saying, I'm taking care of me. I'm going to get a new haircut. I want to start getting my manicures every other week. So now she even looks different. So why would she not attract a new man? You know what I'm saying? She don't even
Right.
look like the bum on the street no more. She look more put together.
That's amazing. I mean, because I mean it's a total mind renewal. So when you start doing things in that direction,
Mhm.
like you said, you become a totally different person. And it reminds me, I think I saw it on Instagram, and it poses the question, what if you what if you locked yourself away for 90 days and just focused on you? What would you come out looking like? And I think what you really do for us is you encourage us to take the time out to do that. And so my next question is, so let's talk about your workshops. So what can we expect from attending, one of your monthly movement for heartbreak workshops?
Oh my goodness. You can expect a shift. You can expect a change. This workshop is for anybody who has experienced breakup. I have people come to the course who had a breakup a year ago. I have people who just went through a breakup. And what happens during the class, I outline techniques to help you get over the heart. We do meditation that body awareness size where you are able to identify the pains in your body. Like, what does that heart pain feel like? Do you have wound pain? Do your feet hurt? All of these things. We dance in the class because dance and movement is one of the ways to release the stuck energy, to release the breakup from your body. A lot of times, what ends up happening with breakup or any other type of grief, we're thinking through it and it's all up here. We have to
Oh yeah.
move because we are human beings and we have a body. We actually have to move that negative stuff, the unwanted stuff through the body. So we do that in the class. I put on music. I teach these 5 moves. I call them 5 magical moves for heartbreak. I teach the 5 moves and then we dance. And I've had people remark during the class, they say, oh my goodness, this was the first time I laughed and cried at the same time. Because a lot of times when you're going through a break, all you're doing is crying. I want to, it's just tear. I was there too. But my class shows you how healing is fun. And I teach it once a month. I have people come internationally because it's an online class. Anybody can come. And it's for men and women too. Because a lot of people assume because I am a woman teach that is just for women. No, it's for everybody. Like my workshop I taught last week, I had 2 men there. So it's universal.
Wonderful.
The message is universal.
So if someone wanted to, I'm going to create a banner for you really quick. So if someone wanted to attend your class, what would they have to do? Is there a number or a website?
They can contact me or look it up on Eventbrite. If they do a search for movement for heart on Eventbrite, it's listed everywhere. Like if they want to get in the February class, that one is coming up in a couple of weeks. They can get enroll in the March, the April, the May. But they can
So you said
contact me at 615.
uh-huh.
They can contact me at 615-746-7606 or do a search for the event on Eventbrite, Movement Heartbreak.
Okay, Movement for Heartbreak on Eventbrite or 615-746-7626. All right.
7606.
Okay, okay, 7606. All right, let's see.
That's
Now this
correct.
should be good. All right. Let me just put it, I want to make sure that we have that information. So that's Movement for Heartbreak on Eventbrite. And so there's a monthly class. A monthly class. I tell you what,
Yes. And
I
it's
need to register. I need to register for your class next month. Right now I'm facing heartbreak for this fellowship I'm in. A lot of but I know that's going to be fine. But I will be there next month, and I'm going to bring some people along, because I mean that's amazing what you said, because we always want to think our way through things. So if I sit down, I want to think about the plan, not realizing like the body is connected to is connected to all of what I'm feeling. You I don't think we realize that.
We don't always realize that because, and it all goes back to our society as well. Our society does not make space for even movement. Think about it.
Wow.
Even children in school today, they've started cutting out recess. I mean, they've been doing this for years, but it's like, why ain't we got time? Where's the recess? Like, what's going? And then as adults, we definitely ain't got no recess. They want you to work and grind to the bone. No, we need to move. We were designed to move. We were designed to play. Like God gave us these joints and these muscles and all of this stuff to be open, to be free, to dance. So critical to move, and particularly after heartbreak.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because they say like even a house, so our body is our house. If you have a house that's empty, it will decay, you know, quicker than a family that lived in the house. So our body is the same. If we don't move it, if we're not moving or expressing it, uh, it's gonna decay as well. So yes, that is excellent information. So what I want you to do is tell us, you know, what advice, because we're wrapping it up. What advice would you leave our audience tonight?
This is the advice. When you go through a breakup, or if you are in a pending breakup, it is not the end of the world. Look at it positively. And I know it's hard at first, but one of the things I want you to do, if you have experienced a breakup or are going through it, write down 10 things you learned from the relationship. Because once you start to express gratitude, you're going to see, wow, even though we broke up and even though it ended, we had some good times. This was really good. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Because you have to have what's called post-traumatic growth versus
Mm,
post-traumatic stress. So many of us live in post-traumatic stress because it's just what we're taught, and it's how the default positioning of the is. But we can have post-traumatic growth where we use the breakup, and this is my quote. I always say my breakup was my breakthrough. We use the breakup as a breakthrough, as a springboard, as a mechanism to propel us forward. So make that list. Make that list of 10 things you are grateful for from the breakup. And
wow.
you will just see yourself open up in a new way.
Wow. It's so, and I think, you know, the important part is you have to do the work. You know, because I'm sure people that are watching this have listened to other people talk about breakups and, you know, all of this, but you have to do the work. You don't change without doing the work. Would you agree, or what are your thoughts on that?
Oh my goodness, yes, because I committed. I actually have something that I teach my clients, and I teach it in the Get Over Your Ex program too, that starts tomorrow, is the OCD method. It is called order, consistency, and discipline. And it is
Mm,
having order, consistency, and discipline around the work. You can't say, oh, I'm going to practice gratitude, but you only do it one day out of the year. You haven't practiced gratitude. That's like saying, back in the day, I learned to play the trumpet. I had to practice my trumpet every day in order for me to figure out how to play that mouthpiece. Anybody that plays an
right.
instrument, plays a sport, does anything, even sews, or crocheting. You have to train your brain, your hands, your body to learn these things. So the same is true with the self-care work. You have to actually do it. It's called
Right.
practice for a reason, because you got to schedule time and say, every Monday at 9, I'm going to do this. Boo, 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 boo. It don't even have to be long. It's all, that's why I call it order, consistency, and discipline. You just got to be consistent with it. You could do something for 1 minute every day, and that matters more than the person who's trying to do 10 hours of something 3 times a year.
Right. Right.
You're being more consistent by doing something 1 minute every day. So figure out, what can you do 1 minute a day that's going to help you with the work.
Right. And the other thing, I think I'm paraphrasing you. It's your responsibility to heal yourself. There's no one that's gonna come and take all this away. Right?
A buddy of mine wrote a book about, she's in the process of writing a book about it. It's that same thing coming to save you, because they aren't.
Right. Right. Yeah. So you got to do the work. I love the OCD. Now you mentioned a class that starts tomorrow. Is that online or is that live where you are? Or tell us a little bit about that.
That is, yes, we have a 6-week group coaching program called Get Over Your Ex, starts tomorrow night. So in 6 weeks, I'm going to be helping you heal it naturally. It is
Wow.
a group program where we meet once a week and we discuss all of this, the mindset stuff. And it's designed to help you release the pain. And by the end of the 6 weeks, you're a better person. Your heart is healed.
Wow.
And
So
so that's available online to anyone.
I was gonna say, so how would they register for that class? Is it to say, can they contact you, or if they were interested in that?
It's on the website. It on my website in the shop region. The program is listed in the shop.
Okay. All right. And
So
the last,
thus, if you go to theselfcareboss.com.
okay, I'm gonna write that down. The, that's one word, right?
Yes,
The selfcareboss.com.
theselfcareboss.com/shop.
Oh, at
/shop.
shop. Okay. Hold on. I
Well,
want to
it's a
edit that.
/shop.
Yeah. The selfcareboss.com/shop.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, let's try to run that again. So if you guys are interested in attending this 6 week, so what's the name of the program again? The 6 week program that's coming up starting tomorrow?
It's called Get Over. Yeah, it's called Get Over Your Ex, a group program that's designed specifically for that. Have you been struggling with detaching? You've been struggling with wanting to go back. You know you want to love better next time. You know you want to be in a better relationship. Take this 6 weeks out, commit to yourself so that by the end of the 6 week, you can get over your ex.
I love it. I love it. And the last question. So where do you see yourself? I stopped doing the 10 years because now everything can move so much faster. 5 years from now, where are you, Dr. E?
Well, a lot of stuff. I will be, because I have not been married as of yet, so I will be married. I will be traveling, doing some great things, publishing more books, speaking to people, and continuing to do this work. Because one thing I know, I have so many skills and talents, and the work that I do in the area of grief brings it all together, because I'm able to do the singing, the songwriting, the death doula, and combine it all in one. Continue to do more of that, winning awards, all of it.
So thank you so much. That's Andre saying, all right, it's time. So thank you so much. I can see you doing all that. And I think it's a blessing when you take the talents that God gave you and you can package it all up. He gives you the vision to package it all up and be able to present it and be a gift to the world. So thank you for your work. I thank you. If you guys don't forget, if you want to go ahead and join the movement for heartbreak, there it is. You can give her a call. I'm going to be joining next week. I'm going to bring a couple of people along with me to take one of her classes. Or if you need help and support right now and trying to figure it out, let's go to the selfcareboss.com/shop and register for her class, which starts tomorrow. What are the times? Are there specific times?
It's every Monday we meet at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there are replays.
Okay.
So some may be like, oh, I can't make that time every week. We'll have replays of the sessions.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you once again. And you know, this will not be the last time you're coming because I know you're just going to expand and grow your practice into something else. Congratulations on your marriage, and we will see you next time. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye bye. All right. We're trying to get this together here. All right. There we go, you guys. Wasn't that great? Man, it's time to take responsibility. It's time to be consistent. It's time to change who you are when you're looking for that one or letting the one find you, however you want to do it. But, you know, Self Care Boss has some great programs to help you move along in your life when it comes to, you know, the heartache, the grief of a breakup, or you know, trying to get over your ex and things like that. So please take advantage of that. And you know, as I close out, I definitely want you to think about a statement I heard that I think it came from Ed Mylett, because I'm reading his book, The Power of One Move, but I think it came from him, and it says, "What if believers stop operating at the level that they are comfortable with?" Which is kind of what Dr. E was saying tonight. But what if you stop operating at the level that you're comfortable with and started to max out life like you truly believe? So you start living the way you want to live, it would be so amazing. And you know, so just imagine all of the possibilities of where God could take you if you just held on to that. What if I lived up to the potential that God gave me? You know, and life would be so amazing. So I want you to think about that, work on that, and practice that. You know, what if as believers we stop operating at the level that, you know, we're comfortable in and start to max out the life, you know, like we truly believe, you know, God's word and what God has given us. But as always, we thank God for his favor, grace, and blessings that we receive each and every day. And as believers, we know that Christ died, he was buried, and rose again on the third day for our justification. And I want you to always encourage you to grow deeper in your faith and your confidence in God. And as you continue to evolve as a person, it's so important that, you know, we take a stand like never before, because you're going to have to choose a side. You're going to have to choose a side. So you have to decide which side you're going to be on. But on behalf of myself and my multi-talented, hardworking husband who sacrificed his time today to be on the ones and twos instead of watching the football game, the Super Bowl, I thank you, Andre Hill. And we wish you a happy Valentine's Day. And as always, be brilliant, be you, be blessed. I will see you February 26th. I still see you.